Everything changes when you begin to awaken spiritually. You have connected with this frequency where you're going down the awakening path. You're experiencing symptoms, not only physically, but you're also seeing there's certain circumstances and people, especially people, falling out of your life almost without warning. The people that you thought it would be your ride or die, the people that you thought this is your golden best friend or this is your whatever soulmate, all of a sudden they literally disappeared, gone. What happens now is that you're left alone, and what happens now is that you are being forced to face this very truth. In this video, I'm going to share with you this hidden spiritual awakening phase that a lot of people don't talk about, but it has a tremendous effect on the lives, the secret lives of people who are actually going through this. It brings so much pain and turmoil, the things that you can't really speak about and you cannot speak to anyone about because there's no one to speak to about, okay? So tap into your heart, opening up your field, because this transmission is meant to take you to clarity, and it's also going to bring you a lot of confidence on your path, because once I understood what this is, my entire life changed. Before, it was literally like crying on the floor and not understanding why people and things suddenly left my life. So what happens is that when our soul is awakened to this path, something really profound happens. The path of spiritual awakening is not something like, oh yeah, let's go explore this yoga center and see what happens. The path of spiritual awakening is really the path of enlightenment. It's the path of coming into wholeness and oneness with the self, the higher S self, the capital S self. And what that means is that in your entire life, you've been playing, literally playing, a role that is anything but the main character of your life. You've been playing a role so that you can appease your family, your society, your community, whatever it is that you're in. You bought into certain programming, and these programming were so deeply ingrained in you. That's the only script that you know how to operate. And what happened is that when you go through a spiritual awakening, these begin to crack. The mask that once makes sense, that once made you the A+ student, that once got you that corporate job that you wanted or you thought you wanted, that once got you this relationship, guy-girl relationship, husband, wife, whatever relationship that you're like, this is not a problem for me, all of a sudden, things are just crumbling. Friendship, you thought it was something that was like, oh yeah, I am extroverted, I am charming, I am a good friend, so easy for me to make friends. No, now it's like, where are the people? I'm so confused. What happens now is that your true core frequency is begin to recalibrate to what is original blueprint. This is the soul blueprint that I talk about. The divine template blueprint is what I work with people on one-on-ones. If you want to know more about it, link is down below. This is the energy of you realizing that who you are is not your name, it's not your race, it's not whatever all these things are. And then you begin to open up to this world of mystical experiences. You begin to experience things that you didn't know you could experience. Pain that didn't come from a medical origin, right? Thoughts that you're like, am I thinking these thoughts? Or these thoughts thinking me? You're just like, you feel like you're losing your mind. So the secret hidden stage of this awakening process that a lot of people don't talk about is the stage of you're searching and you're wishing for validation that you're not going insane. You're looking for validation in the psychic, in the tarot reading, in the horoscope, in the, whatever human design reading, anything you can get your hand on it, tea leaves reading, give it to me, right? You begin to try to make sense of your reality, but the more you try to make sense of it, the more it slips away. And you're gonna see this very evident in the people in your life. The people who start to slip out of your fingers seemingly for no reason. It's not like you had a fight. Okay, it's yeah, there's part of it, maybe you don't vibe, but also there's certain people where you really vibe and you thought it's gonna go somewhere, but it literally like vanished. And this has to do with the validation point I'm talking about. This is something that once you understand is going to completely shatter illusions in your life and allowing yourself to become this one, this whole person that a lot of people talk about, oneness, unity. So what happens is that you're going to begin to look at people in relationship, when these things leave, you're going to obviously get sad, or you get defensive, or you get a little bit like ragey, or you get a little bit resentful, whatever, okay? All of these negative emotions are gonna come up and you're gonna go crazy. Like, should I chase them, right? Should I text them like 10 times? Did I do something wrong, right? And in my empathy, like, did I do something wrong? Should I call them up? Should I send an apology letter for I don't know what, right? All of these are coming up because these are all your core wounds, your old wounds of not feeling good enough, not feeling secure within yourself. And also it's showing up and it allows you to see the role that you've been playing all this lifetime. The chaser. That's right, okay? You think you're the queen that attracts everything or the king that attracts everything. No, you've been chasing. You've been chasing validation and approval and love. Yes, that's right, love and affection all your life, whether you want to admit it or not. This is why this crucial part of the awakening process will require people to drop out of your life and then see how you're gonna respond and see what comes up for you. So the difference between this, people leaving now versus people left before, okay, is you have a certain level of consciousness already. So once this is coming up, you'll no longer, get caught up in the stories. You will at first, okay? Stage 1, you're gonna loop with the story. Did I do something wrong? Should I call them? Oh, F them. They never loved me. I never loved them. Okay, whatever, right? Like all of these gonna come up. But then the crucial part is that it's a awakening phase where you are going to begin to realize, holy crap, I am someone who just been abandoning myself. Who am I without someone to talk to? Who am I without this person, in my life? Who am I if I'm not a daughter? Who am I if I'm not a friend? Who am I if I'm not a co-worker? Who am I if I'm not in a relationship, right? That's why a lot of people, relationships are going to begin to crumble, especially romantic ideas and all of these things. Because for a long time, we associate who we are, our identity, with who we're with. That's the whole attachment program. When I began to have my spiritual awakening, it actually triggered from this 5-year relationship breakup that I had, where my entire identity was being with this person, gonna marry this person and have a life with this person. And when that was taken away from me overnight, my entire world shattered. I panicked. I didn't know who I was. Like my world was like literally was crumbling down. But when it crumbled down, I realized, oh my gosh, now I have so much freedom to build it however I want. But it's not like I had the confidence, right, to like build it. So it really took trial and error, be like, oh, I could do this. Oh, I could do that. Oh, I could quit my job. Oh, I could travel the world. Oh, I could start this business. You begin to explore new identities. So that's why this stage in the spiritual awakening journey that you're experiencing of people flopping out of your life and things just seems to just crumble is very crucial for your true identity building. Because for the longest time, you've been building your identity around something else and someone else. So this is why a lot of people, especially my empaths, okay, you're going to begin to step into your more selfish era. And this is going to be so triggering for you, okay, especially because you're used to putting people first and putting relationship first and making sure everyone is happy. All of a sudden, you're like asking questions, what makes me happy? Who am I? What lights me up? What the F do I want? What is life? What's the point? And these questions seem so straightforward, but you know, honey, the answers are not. And you can still be asking them, 10 years later, you can still be asking them. The difference is that you begin to scratch the surface, crack the doors open, peek inside a little to see your soul, to see where you've been operating in fragmentations. So then you begin to come back into wholeness and oneness. And you can only do that when you realize all of these people who are flopping out of your life, they're not separate from you. It didn't happen for no reason. Just like when you find this video, it didn't happen for no reason. You're meant to receive the lesson to bring you back into wholeness. Because what's the difference between you and that person? The difference is that you, the consciousness, is using these people and situation as a projector screen, projecting out what you need to see within yourself to come back into your wholeness. And for the people who don't understand this fully, they're gonna struggle a lot with the narratives, with the story. He's an a-hole, that's why he left me. He's an avoidant, that's why he didn't reply to my text. She's a whatever. She's a selfish a-hole, that's why she doesn't want to be friends with me, okay? She's a narcissistic, whatever, okay? You're gonna have these stories about the people. But what you're gonna realize is that whatever you see in them is what you haven't integrated within yourself. That's right. So maybe you're seeing this person as someone who puts themselves first and you call it selfish. But they're reflecting back to you where you haven't put yourself first. Where you want to put yourself first, but you can't even acknowledge the desire to do that because it's gonna make you feel like a selfish little biatch of a person. And your entire life, you've been playing this empath, this caretaker role. Come here, little, wounded bird. Let me nurse you up. So then you're collecting these little projects of people in relationship. Okay, anyone? Right? You're collecting like wounded souls to like baby or something, and you end up playing their mom or dad or whatever. But you never have an equal relationship. Here's the juicy part. You are meant, listen to this very closely, you are meant to be met. That's right. You are meant to be met at the level that you operate at your truth in this lifetime. So when you begin to show yourself for who you are, when you begin to integrate all these parts within you, you show up as a whole person. You show up as someone who's no longer afraid to put themselves first, put their happiness, their peace, their joy first without feeling guilty, without feeling ashamed, without feeling like a big bad wolf. You begin to take care of yourself. You begin to sleep in for an extra hour or two because you realize that your nervous system has been out of whack. You realize that you've been taking care of everyone and you're harboring their emotional processes or whatever, unpaid, by the way, okay? And then you begin to be like, you know what? I need to have a spiritual business because I'm doing all of these unpaid stuff. Healing, therapy, whatever, spiritual coaching things. And this is when the path will lead you to your own path. The path going to lead you to being of real service to the people who want to have you in their life, who wants to pay for your services, who want to be in your energy because they appreciate your energy. So this is when you're going to begin to look into things like soul purpose work, right? Having your own business, doing soul-led, conscious type of business, spiritual type of work. Because you begin to realize that this is something that your soul has always signed up to come here to do. But you've been doing this side project and unpaid, projects in the background. So these people had to leave to clear the way for you to see where is it that you are not going full in. That's right, full in on who you came here to be. Where is in your life that you're still entertaining fake-ass relationship, fake-ass friendship, fake-ass jobs and connections? Once upon a time, you think going to networking events is your vibe, and now you can't. You can't even if there's free food, honey. Maybe the free food was like luring you in before, and now you're just like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. Before you could pretend to have like some interest about the freaking weather and like soccer and football and whatever the guys are talking about, and now you're just like, I'm out. I'm done. I can't. Like your tolerance for fakery, your tolerance for BS, your tolerance for unaligned, things, people, energies, frequency, it's becoming intolerable. Like you don't have tolerance for that anymore. So what happens now is that when you are intolerant of the untrue life, your true life is begin to show itself to you. But this is the thing. You cannot rely on the outer circumstances to give you that validation like it once did. You cannot rely on that friend that you thought it was your best friend and she disappeared into, I don't know, God knows where. She stopped talking to you. That guy that you were, chatting with or whatever, you run your ideas by him or whatever, and he disappeared to, God knows ghostland where. What happened is now you're being forced to see, I'm just laughing at the ghostland, right? Like they ghost you, right? Whatever. You have to realize that you are not here to ask people for their opinions on how you should live your life. You're not here to be like, hey, girlfriend, what do you think if I should do this? Hey, guy friend, boyfriend, husband, whatever. What should I do with my life? You think I should do that or like that? What do you think? I don't know. Like that is not cute anymore. And then you realize that you are being asked to step into your new earth leadership. Okay, this is what I talk about on the channel. This is what I lead in. So if you're interested in anything like that, make sure you give this a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos. When you're stepping into your new earth leadership, it will require you to become that sovereign being, that high priestess energy that's being awakened within you, that divine feminine codes are being activated within you, your Christ conscious, your Sophia code, your king energy, your queen energy. And you're no longer a subject of like, tell me what to do with my life, please. I'll kiss your feet, I'll kiss your hand, I'll do whatever, just tell me. You're no longer that person anymore. And you're like, I need to decide what I want to do with my life. What do I want to do with my life? And you begin to move like a CEO. You begin to operate like a sovereign being. You begin to operate like you are in your own kingdom. Okay? And by the way, if you're interested in anything like this, I have a program called Divine Feminine Activation. And I walk you through all the path of becoming a sovereign queen, a wealthy empress, and how to really step into your sovereign energy. So if that's the divine feminine codes that you want to restore, the goddess codes, the lost feminine codes that you want to restore within yourself, and feminine is not about being cute and fluffy and wearing pink. Okay? Divine feminine is about being sovereign. It's about reclaiming the parts of you that the society telling that is too much, that is telling that it's not good enough. The society is looking and calling it like, we don't want powerful women. We don't want powerful men. We don't want whole integrated beings. So whether you're men or women, I have a lot both in my program. So if you're interested in that, I'll link it down below, called Divine Feminine Activation to restore the lost Divine Feminine codes. What happens is that when you are opening yourself up to these wisdom codes, you realize that you have been operating in kind of like a hijacked code, a hijacked programming that the matrix has installed within you, and you never understand what true sovereignty is. You were never taught to feel your intuition and operate from intuition. Intuition was something that was sold to you like it's a fluffy thing. No, back in the days, like the kings and emperors and stuff, like they have their trusted advisors, like the high priestesses and the high priests. Like they had highly intuitive people to help them govern their kingdom, right? And now they call it woo-woo. It's not true. So what happens now is that you're restoring all these codes within you, and then you realize that you can see through people. You might not use the word psychic or intuitive, but there's something that's deep in you that you're beginning to see the layers. You're beginning to see the social mask that people wear. You're beginning to see the scripts of, okay, hee, ha, ha, ooh, hi, okay, bye. And then, they go and gossip about the person. Like you're beginning to see through the BS of how this fake surface level way operate. So this is why this stage is really hard on a lot of people, because they can no longer participate in social events. And it's not like, oh yeah, at least I have my one good friend. No, your one good friend is nowhere to be found. Okay? And maybe your husband that you thought that he's gonna support you and everything, he is even now questioning your sanity. Okay? As you're going through this spiritual awakening, not because he doesn't love you. It's because he doesn't understand it, because he is your mirror. When you go through this spiritual awakening, when you don't move with sovereignty and you move with, I don't know, help me energy, he's going to reflect back to you. They're going to reflect back to you, your spouse, your family members. They're going to reflect back to you where you are not in your power. So then they're going to question you because you question yourself. So they question you, you doubt yourself, they're going to doubt you. And this is the time, this is the point. A lot of women actually come to me via my one-on-one divine template session. Link is also down below if you're interested in that. A lot of highly ambitious, professional, career men and women, but especially the women who feels like now they're being called to step into their power, and it's really shaking up their relationship. The men in their life, their husband, it's like, this is the love of my life. And I'm used to always talk things out, and I'm always used to us moving as a couple. But actually this journey, this path, this specific phase is actually asking you to become that sovereign queen. And it's going to be a little bit triggering to your spouse right now. Okay, so anyone who's going through that, I wanted to give you that validation that it is something that's very real, that a lot of women, go through and they don't talk about. And this is where we have to step into, how do I want to lead in my life? And you begin to say the words like lead. How do I want to lead? How do I want to serve? What do I want to step into? You begin to use the language of power. You begin to use language of sovereignty. Because at this point in your life, you know that there's only you and God, which is you at this highest version, the God consciousness that lives within you, that can only take you to where you want to go, which is in the new earth consciousness. Because this old, dense, lower matrix is no longer working for you. You're meant to have highly supportive relationships in your life, but you're not asking the world to change without your frequency being activated and radiant and going first without validation from the outside world. So this is why you have to drop that old identity of you being that tell me what to do kind of girl, or guy. And instead you stepping into, this is what I want to do. How can I make this happen? This is what I want to do. Who must I become? This is what I want to do. How can I align my life better? And this is the difference between someone who is just had all this hit, in their life, and there's someone who is beginning to integrate the codes of Christ consciousness and New Earth leadership and sovereignty. So a lot of the people that I work with in my one-on-one divine template energy activation, where we come and restore your soul blueprint, the questions that are being asked in those sessions are at higher caliber. The energy that, the people who come in, they're very highly awakened souls who are on this very hard 3D transition journey right now. Their career is crumbling. Their job is question mark. They know that they're meant to be in New Earth leadership. How do they make that transition? That's kind of when we begin to open up what is true. We begin to open that third eye. We begin to open that throat. We open that heart, that higher heart. All of these things are your energy centers are being realigned and reactivated and reawakened. So this is a deeply spiritual journey of you coming home to the code, to the template that is your original code and your original template before it was hijacked, before it was override, before it was scattered. So if you're feeling confused, good, right? This is the beginning. But do you want to stay in confusion? That's what separates you and the rest of the wanderers, right? There's going to be a time to wander and be confused. And there's going to be a time where you're like, I'm ready to fully step in. Show me how. Okay? Dear God, the universe, show me. Show me. Show me who I came here to be. Show me what I must release. Show me how I can be in my God essence, right? All these questions lead to real answers. And you might not like them, the real answers, because it will trigger your wounds. It will ask you to stop abandoning yourself. It will ask you to release the people that you have the storyline that they are your person, they are good for you, they are your friend, they are your safe space, this is your safe job. To become the real you, the true you, that's what we're doing here, okay, with these videos and in my coaching and in all my activations, this is what we do. So you have to decide who you want to be. Do you want to be the true you? Because that's going to require leaving, abandoning, abolishing the old you, the outdated you that never was real you. And if you want to cling on to that, you can't do that. You want to cling on to that fake ass version of you. I want to live my best life ever. You can never. Why? Because that version of you operates on a very small fear-based scale. And you cannot operate and experience a true life when operating in a false energy. You cannot BS with the all that is. You cannot BS with the energies. So this is all about alignment and coming to congruence with all that is. So that's why the spiritual awakening process can oftentimes be the worst on the floor crying, lonely path, because not even your freaking love of your life gets you, right? Not even your best friend, your mom, your dad, your whatever closest person gets you. They once did, but now you're on your own. But actually, the paradox is that you're not on your own. You have to rely on your God essence to guide you. You have to begin to cooperate and walk with God in every step of the way, because the ego has gotten you here. Okay, the ego will continue to walk with you if you want the false life. Okay, the surface level life. It was okay for some time. You can continue if you want, but if that's what you want. But if you want the life of truth, of service, of sovereignty, of true power, happiness, joy, you have to partner with the energies that embodies that. Your God energy, your Christ consciousness, restoring the codes of your divine feminine, okay, the lost sacred divine feminine codes that were suppressed for the longest time in our society. Restoring the king, the queen codes within you. So you begin to sit tall. You begin to handle your kingdom, run your kingdom, and not be run by someone else's whatever, okay, world, the rules that they made up, and you just fall prey into it. So let me know what comes up for you. And if you enjoy these type of videos, give me a thumbs up. Let me know down below. And subscribe to the channel if you want to be a part of this. We make a lot of these videos here to remember, to help you remember your power. You don't have to become anything. You're here to remember just how powerful you are. And it's an honor to walk with you. This is Tina Wong. I love you so much. Down below are all the links. I'll see you in the next one.